back. I wanted to do kind of sort of a short video on how I organize my sewing projects in my fabric stash, starting with this chart. I try to do one of these every 6 months, and I like to list out all of the fabric that I have currently and how many yards of the fabric I have. If I have a 45-inch fabric, which is pretty rare, I will note that. But I find that this is a really good way to just keep track of everything that I have, so that, you know, maybe I don't want to unpack all of the shelves of fabric. Maybe I just want to look up and, you know, see if a certain fabric would work with a certain pattern. And so about every 6 months or so, I will create one of these and use it to just track what I currently have. And then when I've made something with it, I will put the date over it. I'll exit out and put the date over it. And this also helps me keep track of how many projects I've sewn. Over the past 3 years, my volume has decreased, mostly due to being super busy. In 2014, I made about 56 garments, and then that has steadily decreased. I think I've made maybe 15 in 2017. So it's also a way for me to keep track of, you know, what have I actually made this year. I also keep a project notebook, which I'll show you in a minute. But this is kind of where I start with just what I have and how many yards. And this helps me just track overall what I have, so that when I get the urge to go fabric shopping, I look at the chart and remind myself of how much I have. All right, so the next organizational tool that I use is basically a log of all my projects, and I have one of these. These are Moleskine. These are like the craft paper cover books, and I have one for 2012, 13, and 14. And this is where I kept track of everything. This was one of the first years I was sewing really a lot and was trying to sketch, and I kept, you know, just notes about what size I wore, what changes I need to make, designs that I thought I liked. And then there's a big fabric shopping list. In 2013, I got a little bit more organized, and I would keep kind of a running list. Let me show you one that's pretty productive. So this McCall's 5927 pattern, I found it was customized bust sizes, and I absolutely loved it. And I made a ton. So you can see that I made 12 of these really over the span of 2 years. And then I made a lot of different modifications, as I considered that bodice to be sort of my sloper. So I made a lot of different variations. And then I would go back and I would write when I would finish it, so I would know, you know, how long it took me to kind of get something done. But the green, these are actually garments I still own and wear, are the green circles. Some of them just didn't work out. Like this was a front seam with straps with a gathered skirt. Didn't wear it. This one, the zipper ended up pulling out. It was like one of my first hand sewn zippers. So by keeping all of these, I'm actually able to see what I still own, and how everything worked. And sometimes things, you know, didn't work so well. Like right here, the Megan Nielsen Breyer top, I just could not get to fit me, and so I eventually just exited out and moved on. But it was good to just keep notes of everything, so that I knew next time. Colette Laurel, which I've made a ton. Here are my original notes, and I also took notes on the different sizes I made. So I made a 10 with a full bust adjustment, then did a 14, then went back to the 12 and made some adjustments, and that's what I've ended up wearing this whole time. And then 2014, here's another Colette Laurel page. Again, circles are ones that I still wear today. Christine Haynes Emery, this is all of my details about trying to figure out what size I was. My measurements are in between sizes, but I also have a full bust. So I found out that both with Colette and Christine Haynes is I could pick the size in the middle and do a full bust adjustment. It would work. And I remember when that light bulb went off, it was like I don't know, I was a magician or something when I figured that out. Oops. So here are all of those notes for 2014. And then in 2015, let me center this up again. 2015, I switched to a bigger book, and this is pretty much what I've used the past 3 years. And because the paper is thicker, I also put in photos of dresses I like. This is when I first made ginger jeans and loved them. I put in some fabric samples, and because the paper was just so big and hefty, I was able to do that. And then plans for 2015. Oops, truck going by. 2016 happens around here somewhere. Let's see. There it is, 2016. And in 2016, I tended to sew in spurts, which was interesting. I would have a weekend and I would make like 4 things in a weekend, and then I wouldn't sew for a couple months. And then finally, where's 2017? This was my vacation to Europe. I was trying to decide what to wear. 2017 will rock, kind of. And so here's 2017. So a lot less pictures, more just notes and things that I needed to know for next time. And what I've decided to do now is really to just sort of simplify all of this. I started using a bullet journal again for my personal life, and so I decided to use that for sewing projects. I really like the format. I've got tried and true garments, and basically all I did was write sort of the very specific information on what size and what I did for hems, because I like my garments to be pretty consistent across the board. And then I'll just go back in, and when I actually start a project, I'll kind of go back to what I did here, where every project had a page and then I wrote notes. And you see here I even put, at first I wasn't sure about this dress, and then I wore it out and I loved it. So it's just a good place to keep notes on what you're gonna do. The next thing I have, which is the new bullet journal I've been using for a lot of different things. I listed out all of the Sew Photo Hop prompts, and then kind of listed out overall what my sewing plans are going to be. These are all the fabrics that I have for fall. I live in Tennessee, and it's still been like 87 to 90 degrees even the last week of September. So I'm really excited to get started on these once it gets a little cooler. And then I also have some social media tracker stuff for the classes that I post or that I teach locally, and then all of my social media stuff, so that I can let people know about what I'm doing. And then I've got some personal stuff in here too. But so this is kind of an overview, but I'll probably be using this to log all of my projects. So yeah, this is how I attempt to stay organized. It's definitely not a perfect system, but it keeps me, I think, on track, and also reminds me that I have some gorgeous fabric and I need to be sewing in the midst of all of the other busyness in my life. So it's always a good reminder. So my question to you is, how do you stay organized with your sewing projects or your fabric, or how do you keep things organized in general? I'd love to hear your comments below. Thanks, guys.